Hello and welcome back into Texas Football Today. I'm here joined with DCTF Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers. We're going to do a little bit of revisiting on the 10-year anniversary of the WHATABURGER Super Team. So peeking back into the 2015 magazine, looking at the offensive side of the ball, when you first cracked this bad boy open, what was your thoughts about the WHATABURGER Super Team from 2015?
You know what? I didn't have anything to do with this super team. But it's pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
I think it's really solid. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is that Jalen Hurts was the super team selection at quarterback. Obviously, that was the right call. Shane Buechele was number 2 on the second team offense, and Bowman Sells was on the third team offense. I think looking back, having Jalen Hurts be the super team representative in this magazine is like a big win.
Yeah, so for offensive accolades for all 36 people, first through third team, got 6 NFL draft picks. Jalen Hurts off the top, Brandon Stevens from Plano, Caden Smith from Flower Mound Marcus, Greg Little from Allen, Travion Williams and Devin Duvernay down on the third team there, rounding out the NFL draft picks. 8 all-conference picks. Jalen Hurts at Alabama and Oklahoma, Shane Buechele at SMU. He also played at Texas. Zach Shackelford, who started 40 career games at Texas, Braxton Webb at Angelo State, De'Aaron King at Houston, who was an all-time juice player, Travion Williams again at Texas A&M, Devin Duvernay, Texas, Kellen Diesch, Arizona State, and Travis Bruffy at Texas Tech. You've got 2 Pro Bowlers, Jalen Hurts and Devin Duvernay, and 1 Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts. Powers, who was the best player in high school on this list? I know Jalen Hurts has had the best career. Who was the best high school player?
Well, Greg Little was the number 1 rated player in this class, regardless of position. He was the top dog. And I think I would probably go back through this list and bring Jalen Hurts up quite a bit. He was the number 1 quarterback in this class, but he was way down. He was outside of the top 30, I believe, as far as overall prospect ranking in this cycle. This was before the big trend of players that play quarterback definitely getting drafted at the top of every draft. Like, it was like a pretty common thing, but defensive ends were trending pretty well at that time. Offensive tackles were trending at that time. So I think quarterback value has certainly risen if you're ranking these players specifically towards the NFL draft, so Hurts would go up.
I'm just shocked to see Hurts smiling in his picture.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that since high school.
Well, he wasn't a smiley dude in high school either. Like, he was the Jalen Hurts that you see on TV and stuff now. That was very much like the Jalen Hurts that you were covering back at Channelview High School. He took everything seriously. He was a next-level athlete, QB MVP at their camp back then, and I think he won that MVP because, like, every rep he took felt like he was honestly competing for the Super Bowl. Like, every throw, everything he did, he paid attention to, so that was pretty fun. Another guy Caden Smith had a full beard when he was a freshman in high school.
That's why he's a varsity player as a freshman.
I remember going with Aaron Hardigan to watch Flower Mound Marcus play in AT&T Stadium back during his freshman year. And it was like a first or second round playoff game because back in the day, they used to do, 3 or 4 games a weekend at AT&T Stadium during the playoffs. And seeing Caden Smith before the game and like he took his helmet off and his beard was like completely grown in, like he had the underneath neck beard and stuff already. And Hardigan and I just remember this. We just laughed so hard about that. And I actually made the joke at that time that I would never be able to grow a beard as manly as Caden Smith had when he was a freshman. Still true to this very day. Caden Smith's freshman beard totally just destroys what I can do now.
Yeah, I wonder what it looks like now. It's got to be like down to his chest or something like that. Who's got your favorite recruiting story from this list?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Brandon Stevens probably, I think, has the best big picture story, right? Because he was recruited as a running back out of high school, and now he's getting paid millions to play defensive back in the league. So I think that's a pretty cool story because, after running back didn't work out, he had to go back and learn a new craft, and he turned himself into an elite player at a different position, which kind of speaks, to the ability to never give up on yourself or the want to never give up on yourself and what it could turn into. Brandon Stevens has a true success story.
I know Jalen Hurts has the best career. Brandon Stevens now making a bunch of money in the NFL. Who's a guy on this list that's career turned out better than you thought it was going to turn out? Like, who rose? I know they're on the WHATABURGER super team, and they're obviously one of the best in Texas, but who turned out even better than maybe you thought?
I would probably say Kellen Deesh on this list, just looking like first through third, is one of those guys who played a little bit better. I remember rating him a 3-star coming out of Byron Nelson. They had a pretty talented class that year. But he was a big dude. I just didn't know that he was going to be an all-conference caliber player once he arrived on the college scene. Like overplayed their expectations outside of that. De'Aaron King, I would say.
Because he's utility guy, second team offense right there. And he was a program legend at Houston.
Yeah, De'Aaron King is probably another good pick because you could have put me into the category. I would have rated De'Aaron King as an athlete coming out, right? And he's obviously proved to be a tremendous quarterback. Not only could play quarterback at a high level, but now he's a quarterback coach. So he knows the X's and O's of the game and is a true high football IQ dude. He was so fun to watch in high school, though, running the rock. I thought, he's going to end up playing in the slot or something at college. He definitely proved me wrong.
All right, that's all I got for the offense. You want to go flip over to the defensive side now?
Let's do it. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is
thinking about some of these old school guys. I guess they're old school guys to some of our fans, but for guys like me, it's not old school. This just seems like yesterday.
Going down memory lane a little bit here. It's amazing that this is already a 10-year anniversary of some of these guys playing. So defensive side, 5 NFL draft picks.
What a fun list this is.
Ed Oliver, first 5-star to ever go to Houston. Justin Madubuike, who now goes by Nnamdi Madubuike. He's on the Baltimore Ravens, went to Texas A&M. Jordan Elliott, Brandon Jones at Texas, Jonathan Marshall. Those are your 5 draft picks. 8 all-conference players. Okay. Ed Oliver, Madubuike, Jordan Elliott, Patty Fisher at Northwestern for 4 years. Freak show linebacker from Katy on the 2015 Katy defense, probably the best of all time. Brandon Jones, Jonathan Marshall, Trey Baldwin, Isaiah Chambers, who was a Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Year. That wraps it up there. So same list going on here. Who was the best high school player?
Oh, Ed Oliver.
Okay, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Can you describe what Ed Oliver was like in high school? He's still in the league right now, a Pro Bowl player. What's this guy like in high school?
First off, I'm looking through this list right now, and I have to say, none of these photos, this is before my time at Dave. I took this Ed Oliver photo, I'm telling you. That's my Ed Oliver headshot in the Dave Campbell's mag. I remember where I was when I was taking. But still, he's the quickest I've ever seen off the ball. By far. And it's been like that from day one. He was a dominant force. And there are a lot of dudes on this list who I'm going to be really proud of as I talk about him, because Ed Oliver, back in the Scout.com days, Ed Oliver was made a 4-star on Scout.com before anywhere, 5-star on Scout.com before anywhere else. And we had him as the number 2 player in the state, rated within the top 10 nationally because his tape. I don't remember watching another. Andrew Billings' tape was pretty good down in Waco, but I don't remember watching another defensive tape outside of Ed Oliver, Myles Garrett, and seeing Jadeveon Clowney in person. Those are the 3 biggest freak shows I've watched on tape or seen in person probably in my scouting career.
Ed Oliver also has, spoiler alert, the best career that turned out of any of these guys.
Outland Trophy winner,
2-time All-American. Then goes on to be, he's AAC Defensive Player of the Year. I believe he's a first-round draft pick, top 10 overall. It's got to be one of the more successful super teamers that we've had in this magazine.
Was he on the gatefold? Was that the year that he was on the gatefold? It was the year. Oh no, it was when he was at Houston that he made it on the gatefold.
Yes, he made it on the future cover athlete. Who's, again, same question, who's a guy that maybe even did better than you expected? Again, tough question. They're on the super team. They're the best in Texas, but even went over that.
Well, first I'm going to shout out Justin Madubuike at McKinney North. I'm pretty sure that DCTF, now that we've carried over all these rankings, only service to have him rated as a 5-star. He's having a pretty solid NFL career. Was a tremendous player in college and lived up to that 5-star billing. So I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to that ranking, just because it was one that worked out. Kind of overplayed is definitely going to be Patty Fisher, right? he was a freak show at Northwestern, one of the best players in the conference. Every season that he was there, just so instinctual, had a nose for the football, and another 3-star guy who has turned out to be like an excellent player in college, a guy who's went on to play in the league, and somebody that I feel like Texas high school football recruits can look up to now and say, even if I'm not a 4-star or 5-star rated within the top 50, I can be the guy.
Yep.
Right? Like, you don't have to be a 4 or 5-star guy. There's only 50 of them. You can be a 3-star guy like Patty Fisher and attain everything that you wanted in football.
Any fun recruiting stories out of these guys that you can remember?
This was just a fun group in general. I will go back to Brandon Jones. I think Brandon Jones had a really cool recruiting story because he went all the way till National Signing Day without making his decision. And back at that time, we named a recruiter of the year in the region, in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And whenever we went to sleep the night before National Signing Day, there were 2 dudes in the mix to be the Big 12 recruiter of the year for this class. One was Kendall Briles at Baylor, and the other was Jeff Traylor at Texas. Mm-hmm. And when I went to sleep on National Signing Day Eve, I went to bed with this thought in mind. If Texas lands Brandon Jones, then Jeff Traylor is the recruiter of the year in the Big 12. And Texas, of course, did land Brandon Jones. Jeff Traylor was named the Big 12 recruiter of the year, and I feel like put together one of the best classes in Texas history, or helped orchestrate one of the best classes in Texas history. And of course, you've seen his career trajectory in college football since that time has been, he's been a rising star in the profession. And just thinking about back to that time, how hard he worked on the recruiting trail and how much effort that he put into helping his team succeed and recruiting guys like Brandon Jones. It's cool to see him now be a head coach.
Is there anyone on either, I forgot to ask this for offense, either offense or defense, that freak show in high school, really awesome player, and just for whatever reason you thought they were going to the NFL and they didn't go to the NFL?
You're doing me dirty on this, man. I feel like you done me dirty here. Because I've talked about this guy in the office. One of my biggest all-time recruiting rankings misses was on this list, and that's Kendall Hulk Jones from Killeen Shoemaker, listed here, 6'5", 355 pounds. I want to say he graduated closer to 400. And signed with Alabama, but didn't really have that much of a career. He was a DCTF 5-star. So for those wins that you put in the win column for the Justin Matabikes of the world, sometimes you have to put a tally in the loss column for your rankings as well.
Pulling all the skeletons out of our closet, but you know what? This skeleton was 6'5", 355.
Yeah, he was a big boy. Yeah, he was a big boy.
Yeah, so I'd seen some pictures of him back in high school. I would have named him a 5-star as well. Well, Powers, thanks for joining on, taking a trip down memory lane about the 2015 Super Team. We got Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl champions. A lot of guys went on to do some really cool things. So it's cool to check back in with them and see what they were like back in high school.
Texas high school is pretty legit, right? You play football here, you can make it.